Jaison Dolvane has seen virtually every stage of a tech company's life cycle. He founded a company, survived the tech bust, raised venture capital, took the company public, and then last year exited through an acquisition. And now he's doing it all over again with a new venture, WishSlate. So what lessons does a veteran tech entrepreneur bring to a brand new venture? And how do they prepare to tackle a fresh market? We'll be exploring these questions and more this week on Techopia Live. Welcome to Techopia Live. I'm Peter Cavesi from the Ottawa Business Journal. I'm really excited to be joined today by Jaison Dolvane, the founder of WishSlate, as well as the former CEO and co-founder of Espial. Welcome, Jaison.
Hey, Peter. Good to meet you.
And I'm also joined today by Susan Richards from NumberCrunch, one of the sponsors of Techopia Live. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Susan, let's start with you. Can you briefly tell us about NumberCrunch and how it helps local tech companies?
Sure. NumberCrunch is a team of CFOs, controllers, and bookkeepers, and we help startups and growing companies with the complexities, especially now through COVID, of all the financial cash flow planning, helping with financing, investment, getting companies organized for due diligence, all those sorts of things that can help throughout the year.
So Susan, we're going to come back to you in just a moment to tap into some of your insights. Jaison, when we last spoke, it was roughly about a year ago, and you're describing some of the mixed feelings that you're having as you were transitioning out of the role at Espial. I'm curious. It's like I said at the intro, it's an experience that not very many entrepreneurs have been through. I'm wondering if you can tell me just a little bit about what you were doing after the acquisition closed and the transition was complete.
Yeah, I think the last time we kind of chatted, it was sort of at the point when we actually sold the business, and I had kind of decided to exit as part of that transition. And it's always difficult when you kind of found a company and you stayed with it for 20 years, and we did a lot of different things, and I had created some pretty good relationships with a lot of the people and the team itself. So I think that was the time when I was kind of transitioning out. Took some time off after that, and was really thinking about what I wanted to do next, and had several different ideas, and finally sort of decided to focus on the current concept, which is WishSlate, or the current company, I should say, which is WishSlate. And that really came from a personal problem where I always tended to wait until the last week or two to buy a gift for my wife's birthday, or whether it be Christmas. And I'd frantically try to find text links or notes that I had kind of taken through the year, or actually that she'd sent me, but just could never really find those and figure out how to get all that done and get the gift on time. So really, as I started thinking about that more, I thought that people tend to spend a lot of time around trying to figure out what gift to buy someone, and that really comes from the fact that they're not really sure if the other person is going to like the gift, right? So that uncertainty starts to consume time, creates a certain amount of anxiousness, and then in essence starts to create some downstream problems, which is if I'm unsure someone's going to like it, pretty good chance that someone's not going to like a gift that they get, and so you end up with waste, and you end up with waste in terms of unwanted gifts and also money, right? So we started, WishSlate to kind of address those problems, right? Try to solve some of that. And the way we're doing it is really to allow users to kind of be able to create wish lists and be able to see their family and friends' wish lists. And then we've provided a lot of different tools to be able to just make life easier, remind them about occasions, allow them to organize gifts or products across multiple stores, give them notifications, if anything changes on somebody's wish list. So that's really kind of what we're doing right now. And we launched the company sort of late 2019, and are kind of focused on that at this point.
And tell me a little bit about what sort of early traction that you've achieved in these still early days so far.
Yeah, so we've onboarded kind of our first few cohorts of users. I mean, we're still in beta. but have got some pretty valuable feedback. Users generally like the concept. They really like the concept. I've heard a lot of stories of people that say, well, I kind of like was maintaining a shared document like a Google Docs or something, and I had like, everybody kind of put things on there, or I had notes and links in my phone, and so I would just keep track of things like that, ideas that I would actually like, or ideas for the kids, or for my spouse, or for my parents, or whatever it might be, right? So people like this whole kind of wish list concept, which is now you can have everything organized in one place. They like the fact that it's not tied to one store, and we can kind of get everything from we can kind of basically have all your items from any store, right? Because otherwise registries and wish lists tie themselves to one particular store. So that's kind of nice. And then the other feedback that we've gotten is people really like the social aspect of it. So it's kind of fun to go and see what other people like, and one, to see what they like, but two, there's curiosity, but also gives you some inspiration. And then if you can find out when they add new things, then that's kind of interesting too. So we've kind of seen that whole social aspect of it kind of come out on top in terms of users really kind of engaging with the app itself. So we'll continue to kind of build it out and keep getting feedback. But so far, it's kind of validated a lot of things that we talked about.
You're breaking my heart. It was a breakthrough for me just to get my family on a Google Docs, and that.
Oh, there you go. Right. Yeah. Now with like Christmas coming in, right? I mean, in the second half of the year, I mean, the app should be very useful for families who are just coordinating, and they make lists. Because I talked to like over 100 different families along the way, just sort of like trying to understand what problems they actually have. And there was a lot of people that kind of said, look, we get on phones and we're asking like, my mom what dad will like, and dad what mom will like. And then, mom's calling me and asking me what my kids are going to like. And so there's all this kind of coordination that's kind of going on. And it just becomes more stressful as the day comes, right? So my, I think an app like WishSlate should be pretty useful in terms of helping people coordinate that in the second half here.
Absolutely. Susan, let's bring you into the conversation. You work with entrepreneurs from all sorts of different backgrounds. What, in your experience, is often the difference in a startup or a venture that has a veteran entrepreneur on its team?
Well, I think that a key thing is the details. So if you've been through it before, you know that it's beyond a bold idea. There's a lot of details and sequencing, and things don't go according to plan. So repeat entrepreneurs, first of all, they're back to do it again, which means that they enjoyed the thrill of it for some crazy reason. And secondly, there's a muscle memory in that, in a resiliency, and that's required in order to navigate all the different things. So I'm sure Jaison can you start with the idea, and then as he has these 100 conversations, he's discovering nuances that he hadn't thought of, some hiccups along the way, and then the execution of it, especially in a B2C type business. It's ever changing out there. The customer acquisition strategies have to be really on point and timely. So just knowing those processes and relying on the fact that you can handle the good days and the bad days means you'll make your way through that journey and with a lot more confidence. And confidence is pretty powerful in taking a startup through that journey.
Jaison, I'd love to dive into that a little bit deeper. Fully recognizing that Espial and WishSlate are different ventures, but what are some of the biggest lessons that you've been able to draw from your previous venture towards this new startup?
Yeah, I mean, first, Susan, well said. I think there are lots of ups and downs, and how we persevere through that is challenging at the best of times, and there are a lot of lows and troughs that you have to kind of navigate through. So, Peter, my previous business, we did a lot, right? And at SPL, I mean, we started off with this idea of building an internet app platform for devices, right? It was kind of a horizontal thing. We eventually evolved and focused in on building a internet video platform, or a multi-screen internet video or IPTV platform, right? So we started horizontal and we got really focused on a specific application, right? We also evolved our business model, right? We went from, selling and licensing product and software and services, and at one point, probably a significant part of the revenue was even professional services and license related, to being a total software as a service company and getting onto a recurring stream, and then growing our ARR significantly over the last 3 or 4 years of that business, which probably set the company up in a way to get acquired, right? So, and then, as you mentioned earlier, like, we raised money, we did acquisitions, we raised money from VCs, we took the company public, we raised public financings. So obviously all those experiences are going to be pretty useful when it comes to WishSlate as we progress. I think the basic concept or lessons learned, I guess, in terms of that are most important over here, at least kind of the stage that we're in, is, I realize that the idea and the business model is going to evolve, right? And so in a world today where we're so data driven, we have kind of an added benefit that we didn't back in those days, right? When I started the first company, in that, we can make decisions not just on our gut, but based on data, right? So really, the key part over here, or the key part of our culture right now, is to fail fast, right? Because what we need to do is make data-driven decisions, be agile, move really fast, and then be able to sort of evolve as we're moving forward. And that's going to be an idea. That's going to be on the actual business model side of things. That might be our target customers as we actually move forward and where we're going to focus, and certainly the user acquisition side. Because, when we think about a B2C business, that is the technology is almost the easier part. It's the user acquisition part that is extremely, extremely hard. And it's not about getting users. It's about getting users at a reasonable cost. Otherwise, you don't have a business, right? So I think failing fast and moving really quickly on these things is going to be pretty important as we actually move forward. The other thing that I'd say, is I always say this to even younger entrepreneurs is, the basics actually work, right? And there are a lot of times in my previous business where we forgot about the basics, and we wanted to be like the next thing, and we wanted to be like cute about how we do things, right? And the reality is that go back to basics, whether it's picking up the phone and calling someone, whether it's talking to them, whether it's cold calling or cold emailing or cold DMing, whatever we do nowadays, right? And we got to do the hard work and be very deliberate about doing those things. And I think that, as long as we can do those things, we're going to see success. It's a really key part of execution. So I'd say, all that kind of helps. And having been through that and seen how it works and doesn't work, is going to be pretty useful as we kind of move forward.
There's a lot of good advice in there. Susan, I was wondering if we could pick up on one point that Jaison raised. When you and I have spoken in the past, we've had a lot of interesting conversations about financial metrics and strategies, for SaaS companies, primarily though in the B2B space. How does the thinking shift once we start to look at the B2C space?
Excellent question. And I think Jaison gave lots of great meat in his responses there, because knowing the lane you're in, B2C there are metrics for both, but you don't blend the two of them. So it's a marketing game. It is based on foundational elements, but it's very easy in this day and age to get distracted too, because there's the influencers out there. There's a lot of plays you can do online that are big bets to play. And it's hard to do that sampling and fail fast. So you need to do the experimentation for the user acquisition, see what works, understand it won't necessarily work in mass scale if it works in small scale, but at least to get some data there, as well as it's an emotional play. So B2B is really more of a logical type sale. It's easier to wrap your head around the buyer behavior. When it comes to B2C, there's a lot of emotional elements there. And again, having the experience of understanding how things go differently than planned really sets you up for sticking to the processes and the ideas, because everybody will tell you it's a great idea. People will love it, but will they actually use it? Will they execute? Will they behave the way that you hope they behave? This type of play has got that virality built right into it. It's got gift occasions that already exist. So there's a built-in need that's going to be coming around. And there's the two-pronged customer giver exercise here too, that adds that element of viral, which will keep people there. But that early on user acquisition, as Jaison pointed out, can be extraordinarily expensive if you're not sampling to get that exercise right at the beginning. And of course, we're not going to get everything right, but yeah, those are the key things that are different than the B2B play, in my opinion.
Jaison, I'm wondering if you can give us a bit of a preview as to what the second half of 2020 has in store for WishSlate. You teased them the market opportunity with the Christmas not around the corner but down the road. But tell us more from a business perspective. What's happening that's going to help position the company to scale and capture those opportunities?
Yeah, so I'll kind of just start with sort of the acquisition part of it, user acquisition part of it, since Susan was just talking about that. We have a whole slew of growth experiments, right? I mean, so we have to kind of go through those experiments, and we're going to continue to do that. So you'll see increased marketing, and more importantly, probably some increased partnerships that we're using to kind of drive user acquisition, right? So wherever we can find kind of mutual value between ourselves and partners, that tends to be the most cost-effective way to actually gain, and trustworthy way of actually gaining users and attracting them, right? So we're going to be doing a bunch of things around that as we kind of move into the second half. On the product side, today we actually have Amazon products in the app itself, so we have a relationship with those guys. But we've actually partnered with another 200 stores and brands, which will appear in the app soon, kind of in the next few weeks here. So that's a big part of kind of us really expanding kind of the trust factor with users and really giving them what they kind of want, which is a relationship with all these different brands and an easy way to sort of access them. We do have kind of an AI, an artificial intelligence-based gift assistant, so that kind of will continue to improve in terms of providing suggestions. And we'll keep evolving kind of the tools in the app to just make life easier for families as they coordinate gifting and get reminders and be able to kind of socially keep track of everyone. So we'll keep doing that. And today we have the app on the Apple App Store. It's an iOS app, so people can go download it from the Apple App Store. But in the second half of the year, we're kind of working on a web app and an Android app, and hopefully we'll get one or both of those done in the back half of the year.
Fantastic! It's going to be a lot of fun watching the company grow and hit all those milestones.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Jaison, Susan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Before I let our audience go, I do just want to take a quick moment to thank all of our sponsors, without whom this show would not be possible. We have Number Crunch, offering virtualized CFO services for SaaS companies. Perley Robertson, Hill & McDougall, a leader in business and tech law. TD Bank, with specialized programs for tech firms. University of Ottawa's Faculty of Engineering, creating the next generation of technical talent. And Stratford Managers, providing services to help you scale your tech venture. Techopia is not just this great show. We are posting articles daily on obj.ca/Techopia. You can also follow us on social media at Techopia OTT. And if you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and leave us a comment. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again next week with another episode of Techopia Live.